Oh, hey Ryan, you caught me. I was eating my The Mandalorian gummies. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle. With me is Ryan Ray, and this is Hey Mando. We're doing Chapter 7 today.
We were supposed to do it last week, kind of, but not really. So it's good to do it this week when we're supposed to do it.
Yes, I thought we were doing Chapter 7 last week, but actually it was Chapter 6 because I can't count.
Well,
And
no,
in Star Wars, for decades, you didn't have to count about 6.
that's what I say. We
Oh,
started this podcast in like season 2, episode 4 or something. So the fact that you're confused where we're at, it makes perfect sense, actually.
it does.
It makes more sense than most things in this podcast we're talking about.
So this is the video feed, also available on Outpost 23's YouTube channel. A audio-only edition of this goes out on my Spreaker podcast feed, available anywhere fine podcasts are given away at no charge.
Yes, just look.
Yeah. So,
2 words.
Oh, I'm sorry?
2 words, not one. Hey, Mando is 2 words, not one.
That is. I was going to say another 2-word thing that's very important is spoiler alert.
Thank you for
Spoilers on everything, all things, everything that is Star Wars and everything that is not Star Wars, which I think covers everything in the universe.
that. Yeah, you're getting close. So I'm going back and looking here, Kyle, on the podcast feed. It says the first podcast we released was Chapter 12, The Siege. So that would be season 2, right before the Jedi, which would be the Ahsoka one, right?
So that'd be the 4th episode of season 2.
Yeah. Okay. We talked about this the other day. So there we go. So this is Siege.
Yes. This time we're going to be talking about stormtroopers. I got another geeky tiki here. This one's a stormtrooper geeky tiki. For everyone that can't see what's going on now. For everyone who can see, I apologize.
So, Kyle, I'm curious. You have been down in the dumps over the Hey Mando podcast for the past few weeks. You have been one of its harshest critics that I've seen.
Wait, the harshest critic of the show or of this podcast?
Both, but mainly the show. But you've criticized the podcast privately, but we'll leave our problems to this for now. So I need to know before we get into this. Last week you hit an all-time bottom low, like a stock hits 52-week high, 52-week low. You're at your 52-week low. Where are you this week, Mr. Souza?
Okay. Last week was my least favorite episode of the season, which Ryan enjoyed because
very much
he doesn't want me to like those kinds of episodes.
Very
Ryan is also happy this week because this is my favorite episode of the season. not episode 8, episode 7. Chapter 7 is my favorite episode of season 1.
Listen, I find that offensive on behalf of all fans of Ugnaught world, but whatever.
You know,
I don't celebrate Ugnaught death.
Quill dying was an emotional moment. My youngest daughter watched this with me, and she let out an audible "Aw" when she saw him. She was like, "Dad, what happened?" I was like, "He died." She was like, "Why?" I was like, "I couldn't blurg fast enough."
Yeah, he would have taken big slow things. Listen, this is Star Wars. They had speeders, people. Like, come on. What are you thinking?
Right. And obviously
on this one. Like this is not like, hey, they can fly now. You should know they got speeders. That's pretty established in the canon. Movies, comics, books.
Elsewhere on his planet. I mean, he fought for 3 human lifetimes in wars, so
yeah, you would think that he would know that the speeder is mightier than the whatever thing he was doing.
The blurg.
So this is your favorite episode. And Kyle, just out of curiosity, before we go, I've got to ask, why might this be your favorite episode of the season compared to last week's worst one? Just if you had to think about like what might make this be it.
Because it's got a lot of great humor in it. It's got some good action to it. You learn a lot about the characters. And just overall, I felt good after watching it. It has nothing
to do with not dying and our heroes being down. You felt good. I'm just saying. I'm a little worried.
Well, I felt like, hey, it's Star Wars. Like, I didn't feel like, what's this weird lady doing here? Why is she hissing? Why is she hissing at people? And her brother's a terrible jerk, right? So I didn't have any of those feelings. It had me on kind of the edge of my seat a few times where I was like, "Oh, is this going to go sideways here? Is it going to go sideways here?" It did go sideways one of those times, but not how I thought it was.
So it's almost as if because this show taps into the larger
Mhm.
framework of Star Wars, you like that because it is Star Wars. It's not some message of the week, drink your Ovaltine decoder pin.
Yes, I concede. Yes. There you go. I told you I was going to say something that would make you happy on this episode, and that's it.
Oh, you did it! You did it! You did it! So does this mean that you have rechanged your entire Mandalorian thesis? And for those who haven't listened to all 15 episodes or whatever, maybe why don't you unpack what your thesis was, and let's hear where you're at now because I'm really curious to hear what it could be.
Well, sure. I thought that this was going to be a job of the week type episode. Job of the week. Make sure I enunciate clearly since we're talking about a show where somebody named Jabba exists. And I thought it was going to be a gig of the week for Mandalorian, where he goes and he bounty hunts something and brings it back, and then the next week something totally different happens, and they're not very connected. That's what I thought it was going to be, and I was looking forward to that. I thought there might be some characters in common, but I was thinking kind of like, I don't know.
You're looking for the Seinfeld of Star Wars.
Well, not Seinfeld, because then that'd be about Star Nothing. But like any of the kind of '90s shows that I grew up watching, like
Walker Texas Ranger.
Walker Texas Ranger. Yeah, where hey, you've got these core cast of characters that reappear, but the bad guy last week has nothing to do with the bad guy this week, and that'll have nothing to do with the bad guy next week. And it doesn't matter if you saw the last episode or not, because everything you need to know is inside this one episode.
Yeah, NCIS stuff like that.
Yeah, CSI, all those things. The first 4 seasons of Supernatural, that kind of thing. So that's what I was thinking, and it turned out not to be the case. And I do think that the professional directors and production team have managed to do better than I would have. Somehow, we'll call it luck, probably some skill, probably the fact that they're professionals and know what they're doing. But one way or another, they've done something good. I think it's better than what I had in mind. I still think I will go to my grave thinking this. I think that if they did it right, what I was originally thinking could have also been cool. Not saying it would have been better than this. I'm just saying that done right, I think it could be cool. I even mentioned that at one point in my notes in here, or something related in here. Oh wait, maybe it's in a different set of notes. Anyways, I will mention something later on that note.
Okay, and so now that you've watched the seasons multiple times and you've talked to someone infinitely less smarter than you, and you're doing this podcast, how do you feel?
I like this episode the best. Like I said, it's my favorite episode.
Yeah, no. When do you think this? When does the show deliver its best moments?
Oh, when does the show deliver its best moments? Probably when it is. There's a guy that I talk to regularly who likes to use the phrase "progressing the story," and I'm going to give him credit for that phrase because I've never heard anybody else ever say it before.
It's very unique.
Yes, and so I guess when it's progressing the story are the best episodes.
To your point, though, I mean, I haven't watched Walker Texas Ranger in years, but I did point that out about having a crew, and you go, "Oh, you wanted Hey Mando and Friends." I do think it is relevant that it takes friends, and Mandalorian's character is just not enough, and so
it's not. So I'll go ahead and spoil the note that I was saving for later. If IG-11 got his own series as like a nanny, I would watch that. Because IG-11 is my favorite character in this episode and the next.
Okay, so we can get into it. I will say I caught something about IG-11 this time in his arc kind of story that I had not caught before. I thought was interesting. So
Okay. Well, all right. So it starts out at the beginning. Mando is in space, amongst the stars, and he gets gets a message from Grief Karga, right? And initially,
Just
I'm thinking,
real quick, Kyle. If you ever send me a text message that says, Ryan, if you're receiving this message, it means that you are alive. I will cut the feed then. I will cut the feed then. Kyle, I will exit the chat. I will block your number. We will never, if you send me a message that says, if you're receiving this, it means you're alive. Obviously, obviously, I didn't. You've wasted precious minutes of my life that I could have been doing something else for that joke. And oh, by the way, if you're sending me this message, it doesn't mean that you're alive either, right? Like,
oh, just because I'm receiving it doesn't mean that, yeah, you're alive when I got it, but
yeah, I just
you were probably alive when you sent it, though.
maybe they can probably fake those things in Star Wars, but
Oh, they definitely can. Yeah. Definitely.
so, like that whole line, like if you get this, it means you're alive. And guess what? I'm alive too. It's like, right, and next, what's
A mean thought came to my head when I saw that exchange.
what's going?
And I was just like, oh, somebody who was writing stories when Carl Weathers was famous wrote this line.
Yo, Adrian, if you're getting this message,
Like it's a very dated exchange as far as our entertainment is concerned. And I like Grief Karga's character. I think Mr. Weathers does a fantastic job. Please come on the show. No, but
yeah, I just
it
thought
was
that was
not great writing. Yeah.
such a bad line. But go ahead.
It was. Then again, what Star Wars movie doesn't have a bad line in it?
I don't like sand.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It gets everywhere.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead with your dad trap.
So my thought was, it's a trap. Right?
Yeah.
Quote another Star Wars character. But he takes him up on his trap, and so he goes back to Sorgan, fight, and we find Cara Dune fighting a
R.I.P.
Mirian. Cara Dune, sorry. Yes.
R.I.P.
And I will say, I confused my 7-year-old with this. I rewound that fight scene and turned on the descriptive audio for it, and it was fantastic. I just want to give props again to the writers and the voice actress doing the descriptive audio, and to Ryan for suggesting descriptive audio for everybody who couldn't see him pointing at himself.
I'm not the kind of guy to draw attention to myself, but I did point out to you. I think I don't need the attaboy, but it's deserved.
I don't need it, but I want it, and you must give it to me.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if Ben Samuels is watching or not, but thank you, Kyle. You get me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I just want to say, great job on the descriptive audio for everyone involved, especially Ryan Ray.
I'm like Al Gore. I created descriptive audio.
You created, yes, and progressing the story. Those are all your catchphrases. So then they're on the ship, right? Just progressing through the episode real quick. Stop me at any point. The kid cracks me up, right? He does exactly what a child left unattended in a ship would do, and just starts messing with controls. I thought for a second, first time I watched it, that they were going to do some sort of romantic, try to put Mando and Cara Dune together thing when they start falling all over the place, and they didn't, and I'm so happy they didn't, because that just would have been dumb.
Yeah, agreed. But that's also part of why the show is so boring when there's just Mando episodes.
What do you mean?
So, like on NCIS, for instance, if you watch, and I haven't watched NCIS in seasons, but at one point I'd watch like the first 4 or 5. I don't know. I could tell you when the characters left, and maybe you could tell me what season it is. But the first handful of seasons, we'll say 6. I don't know. And if you actually go back and watch those, what you find is that you have your bad guy of the week, but each episode actually has these other things that are going on that are actually progressing the story. That's what you feel like. Oh yeah, get the bad guy, and that's there. But have you seen NCIS?
Very little NCIS. We
Okay.
were more of a CSI household.
So I watched CSI a long, long time ago. Kyle, back before I had a
CSI Miami and CSI. Those were the two big ones.
yeah. So I watched it back before I had kids. So that's been like 13 years ago.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was on that long ago.
Yeah. And so, I remember like when one of the characters, they would have love interests, or they would, their family would die, or they would be tied to the story in some. So while I don't want the love RIP Cara Dune, but while I'm not looking for the Cara Dune Mando love story, just the hint of that might be coming gives you things to look for. Okay, wait. Is she really into him? Is she not into him? And so it's those like now that we've seen all the 2 seasons, you can go back and see how they layered in the Grogu Mando father son dynamic. It's not really apparent. Upon second watching, it's kind of a little bit more apparent.
Not apparent. Good one.
Uh, um. Anyways, so I think that's why the story suffers so bad on these just kind of random missions, is because you're like there's nothing here. Like this guy's getting this guy, and like, and so I think all those other shows do a good job of having these other things that are actually story arcs that are going on, but you turn in to get the villain of the week, but you're actually being hooked by these side stories that are played just as much a role. Like NCIS, Gibbs' relationship with other characters, that's always ebbing and flowing and stuff like that. And so his love interest, or Denozo's love interest. And so you could take those things, and then all of a sudden you could bring those to the forefront to carry an episode where they're taking the villain for 2 or 3 episodes. This show doesn't really have that, because you said you could watch the robot for 3 seasons. That's because Mando is such a boring character by himself that the robot looks enticing.
the robot to step up from Mando. Yes. Possibly.
They have the same level of personality in season 1. Actually, the robot has more in season 1.
Yes. Yep. In the last 2 episodes, the robot definitely has more.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think Mando comes out the best when he's interacting with the droid that he hates.
Well, okay, right, but that's part of it. So that's been built in. So season 1, episode 1, you're told he doesn't like droids.
Yeah.
So you got a droid on the screen, you're looking for it. What's going to happen, right? And so that's what happens. Like, if you take the episode with Finnick, if a droid would have been more prevalent in it, then you would have had something else that's kind of a side story here. Like, he has to take a droid on a ship to get out to Finnick, or whatever. I don't know. Something like that. Then all of a sudden you have this whole other thing that you've been kind of watching.
That still wasn't a bad episode, though. Like, that was one of the mediocre episodes.
What was last week? That one, Finnick?
No. That was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, last week was getting the people off the ship.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And so the droid they used in that episode, they only used to unlock the jail door from inside the jail with the key.
Well,
and they killed some droids early on.
Well, right? No, there was also the droid
piloting
the ship.
But him and Mando really didn't have a. So you had the droid flying the ship, but Mando wasn't like depending on him, like constant, like, hey, get the ship over here. The droid's like, I'm trying, and he's like, like they're. So you have that was a setup, but they never played upon it.
Yeah, and I'll have questions about that droid that we saw last week in a couple of weeks.
We're watching you, buddy. We're watching you.
So
didn't they have ship problems in this episode?
Didn't what?
Didn't they have ship problems in this episode?
No ship issues.
No ship issues. I thought you said that they had something repaired. Maybe not.
Yeah. So then he goes to pick up Quill, right? Who he learns the name of Quill in this episode. We all learn his name. Quill spent the traditional Kuiil way.
Obviously.
Yeah. And
is there another way?
No, that's where I get all my paper from.
Okay.
Kuiil. And we get introduced to a term, stranded.
Why did they kill him off? Can I just ask that? Why do they quit? See, Quill is one of those characters that, like, his presence on the screen, he has no personality, and yet he's full of it. Like, why do you kill him off? He is like a Gibbs. So just to use the NCIS parallel, Gibbs doesn't have a personality, but he's full of personality. That's Quill, and Mando doesn't have that. Like, why did you? I don't understand why they killed him off.
I think, yeah, I don't know because Mando doesn't see him die, so he doesn't know it at 1st. Maybe it's a matter of just making Mando sad for some big turn in episode 8 to make the reveal even more dramatic. Maybe it's just to get people in an emotional mood. Maybe, in the very first X-Men comics, we're introduced to a certain character who unfortunately I can't remember the name of.
Obviously,
They, in the second episode, kill him off, even though he's like one of the main people in second issue. Sorry, in the first issue, he's part of the core team, and then they kill him in the second issue, and they did that so that you would feel like no one was safe.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking maybe that's what they wanted here, is for us to feel like no one was really safe in this series.
Yeah, I mean, I think they. So can I tell you why I think they killed him off?
Yes.
I think they killed him off only so that you would make sense for Mando to take his helmet off for the droid in the next episode.
Because then the droid can't tell Quill about it.
No, because they have a whole. So I didn't catch this till this time. There's a whole monologue about him, Quill, with the droid, and they this whole montage of him working with the droid. Right, and I'm sitting there going like, why are we watching this? And it doesn't make any sense. This is wasteless. You could have done this in 2 lines and gone on, but they build the attachment from Quill to the droid, and then Quill dies. And so now the only thing representing Quill is the droid, who then will save Grogu in the next episode, and then ultimately Mando will take his helmet off for him. So I think that's what's going on.
See, I think actually it's more so that the droid doesn't have Quill that he's responsible to, and he's fine sacrificing himself or doing whatever else needs to be done because he doesn't have to report back to Quill. He has, no owner, no master that he's beholden to, so he can do whatever it takes to save the child, which is his primary directive.
He's an extension of Quill, because Quill does the same thing.
He does ultimately do the same thing. Yeah. Oh, maybe that's the reason.
I mean, other than well, I mean, so like when Quill delivers the line, we're bringing the fuzzball, not the fuzzball bears, the slugs. What are they called? The animals, the riding animals. Yeah, when Quill says, I'm taking the droid and we're bringing the blurgs, and Mando's standing there, he goes, "I have spoken," and he walks off. Like, that moment is hilarious because here's this 3-foot tall Ugnaught telling the Mandalorian, "This is how it is, bub. I don't really care what you think, and I've spoken." Gangster style, walks off, gets on the ship, which is not locked. We know that from previous episodes, and that's it. Yeah, so like that, like very few like Cara Dune, none of the characters in the show will carry that kind of bravado, and so I think it was a mistake to kill him off because he was.
Well, did they need to kill him off because he was showing up, Mando?
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe Mando's like, "Hey, if I use my communicator, they'll know that the Ugnaught has him. So I'm gonna tip my hand." Maybe that's next level, Kyle.
Oh no, I'm not saying that Mando did it to get him killed. I'm just saying like
no, I like that. Let's leave it there. I like that. Mando's like, "Listen, Ugnaught's gonna tell me how it is. He's spoken. Okay, I'm gonna get him whacked, and then I'm gonna save the kid. And guess who's the hero again? Me. It's my show."
Look, I am not endorsing that theory.
I wasn't asking if you were. I'm just telling you I'm taking it as yours. It is now your theory.
Okay.
I'm ascribing it to you, and I'm going with it.
Good deal. So speaking of Quill, right? He knows how to reprogram droids. He's been alive for approximately 240 years. Maybe just 200, right?
Yeah, Cara Dune's just a normal human, right? So just 70 to 90 years.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking if he said for 3 of her human lifetimes, he's probably in the 200 to 240 range.
Well, he was a slave for that
Yeah,
long, right?
right.
Well, hold on. He said he was an imperial slave for that long.
Yes.
Well, the empire wasn't that old.
Well, he may have just been a slave, not necessarily an imperial slave that whole time. Uh, you have often brought up how the Republic and the Empire are the same thing. And I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe
one
that's
did
true.
transition to the other.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, while slavery was illegal in the Republic, there were still slaves that were around there, and also the separatist movement is the same thing as the Empire. It all becomes the Empire, right? So he could have been a slave somewhere else, and he doesn't care if the brand of the company that owns him changes. He's a slave to the same place.
No, I agree. That's definitely a plausible thing. Yeah, I wonder if he's being literal there, or if he's just saying like, you know. Well,
He
okay,
doesn't
so
seem like the poetic type.
yeah, because you obviously you have slaves with Anakin, so he's a slave,
Mhm.
but he was just like a, you know,
They were in hut controlled space.
right,
It
right,
was part of the Republic, but the Republic didn't police it.
right.
As we also heard in this episode, the Empire makes everywhere it goes better, and it appears that it did bring more order to Tatooine than was there during the times of the Republic.
And the one thing we know about governments is they never use propaganda.
Yes. Well, I'm just saying you didn't see a lot of people's heads stuck on stakes in episode 4, right? But now we do. Now we just do see.
Well, I mean, we've blown up buildings, so whatever. I'm sorry.
I mean, the rebellion is a terrorist group, fundamentally.
Whoa, that's aggressive, you statist. Wow, they're
I'm
freedom
not
fighters.
saying that they're wrong.
They're freedom fighters.
Hmm.
Wow,
Okay, they are.
wow.
They're freedom fighters.
They're good old fashioned libertarians. Okay, leave them alone.
Just like the pirates that Din kills in season 2.
Why you gotta go there?
Freedom fighters.
Why you gotta go there? Too soon.
Because
It's too
good
soon.
and bad is
It's
not
too
black and white.
soon. The pirates are barely the bodies are still warm on them pilots, and pirates, and you're bringing them up. Yeah, I'm trying to find his Wikipedia here. I don't see the slavery thing. Uh, they just say, um, when I was a slave in dirt servitude, da da da. It doesn't. Yeah.
So he serves as a soldier and somewhere as a droid maker or repair person, which I thought was nice. And I'm wondering if maybe that's something that Ugnaughts are kind of prone to, because we did see them working in similar capacities in Cloud City, where we were introduced to Ugnaughts as a species, right?
Also, the first major movie to mention cloaking technology.
Perfect. Did not know that.
I'm pretty sure, isn't it? Episode 5.
I just said I don't know, man. I don't know why you gotta do that to me. Like, you just want me to keep saying I don't know?
Yes, I do. No, like,
Yeah.
when you say you don't know, I'm like, well, if Kyle doesn't know, then I'm probably wrong. So
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 2 responses, and then we'll edit it for whichever one's correct. So yeah, Ryan, that was the first one. Or cut and actually was the first movie, and I'll just edit in another name in there later. That's how
oh, I hate you so bad. I hate you so
yeah,
bad.
I don't know that one. I haven't see there's a lot of like movie stuff outside the Star Wars universe that I don't know.
This would just be like movie watching the movies.
Yeah, like movie trivia versus Star Wars, like in universe stuff. I know more of that stuff than like
the movies in the universe. I'm confused here. Like the movies, literally the universe.
Right, but the fact that Episode 5 is the first movie to mention tracking technology is not like a Star Wars fact.
Cloaking
Technology. Sorry. So the first.
I mean, it would be a fact if it's true.
I'm sorry.
If it's true, it would be a fact.
Right. But so if that's a fact, I'm saying that's a fact about the movie, not about the Star Wars universe. So I just don't know that one. Is what I'm getting at.
I love how you're trying to. Yes, here it is. Wikipedia. Star Wars Episode 5. First mentioned. Boom. 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 Now, it is mentioned in earlier. It's like if you go back to Star Wars, Clone Wars, Cat and Mouse, that's the first appearance in universe where you see it with Anakin ship. But the actual, from theatrical release date, the first mention is in.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like in all movies, like that George Lucas with Empire Strikes Back invented the idea of cloaking technology on spaceships. Are you just saying?
Oh, Star Wars. That's what I'm saying. Yes, it's in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, okay. My bad. I misunderstood. My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like the Twilight Zone has cloaking technology, but we're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, hey, spoilers on everything, though, man.
That's.
Yeah. So my apologies. I misunderstood you. My apologies.
I'm still going to edit universe. I will be like, hey, Kyle, just so you know, I'm going to pull a random fact from somewhere else. This work. So.
I mean, it's still Star Wars related. It's just, I just misunderstood. That's my folly.
You're in the wrong galaxy. It happens to us all.
No, they did. We are in the wrong galaxy.
Also, this is a galaxy far, far away. A long time ago. So anything Star Wars is probably.
It's already happened.
Yeah.
So. These are documentaries, historical reenactments.
Thank you for acknowledging that publicly.
So one question I have about this chapter of the Star Wars universe is, how long has it been since chapter 2 when we met Quill? Like, he got this droid. So apparently Mando and IG-11 did a pretty good job clearing the place out, and nobody was in after, because Quill just walked in and picked up an assassin droid and walked out.
Quill's a gangster. Okay.
And he is. And then he reprograms this thing. He has enough time for an 80s style training montage. And
Carl Weathers. Did Carl Weathers direct this episode? Maybe that's what this is all about. Let me go. I'm gonna see, but you go ahead. Okay.
I'm just wondering, and he's talking about how this was something that was not a fast process. Like he mentioned something to that effect. So I'm wondering how much time has passed in between chapter 2 and chapter 7. I think we're talking months of time.
Yeah,
I think so. It seems like.
I think so.
Yeah.
Deborah Chow did this one, not Carl Weathers.
Okay. Let's see. Assassin droids do have top-notch programming. That's part of what made them so dangerous. Is that they're cutting-edge program. In fact, they had a bad habit. Assassin droids had a bad habit of killing their makers during training exercises and during programming. When they were doing beta testing to see like if this thing worked, and it'd just start killing people, right? So they're pretty good at what they do, and what they do is something bad. But
they're almost like, well, if the objective is to kill your master, they're great at it. If the objective is to not kill your master, then they're not very good at it.
Well, they're just a kill. They're killing machines, literally. And so I think I just think it's worth noting that Assassin droids do have like top-notch programming. So I just think it's pretty cool that Quill could work with that and not get killed.
Well, he got killed, but yeah, whatever.
So we do Quill. He does agree to help, but he doesn't want to get paid. He's going to do it for freeing people from Imperial tyranny, which is nice. But like, you could get paid while you do something good too, right?
Wait a second. Who else in the show does something for free without getting paid?
Boba Fett. Brian is pointing at his temple for anyone listening in. I'll be doing the descriptive audio of Ryan's hand gestures for the remainder of this episode. Ryan laughs heartily, going to make some speech into the microphone, and then changes his mind and laughs some more. He's wondering how long I will carry this bit on.
A long time, I suspect. Yeah, but I never thought about that to just now when you said it. That Bubba does it as well. Bubba.
I think that's more about just making things easy for Mando and some lazy story writing, or not necessarily lazy story writing. That might be a bit harsh, but just they need Quill to join, and they're like, he'll do it for free, and we'll just move past this onto other more important things. Same thing for Boba Fett. Oh, let's get him to join for free, and then just keep going. Honor, I don't know. Honor as a commodity is, what's it called? An easy MacGuffin for people.
Well, it makes sense for Quill to do it. He seems to be kind of a dude of integrity. Like, this is I've spoken type deal. Like, he seems to be really big in that. Bubba never made sense.
He has no obligation to this other planet, though. Like, it's not his people. There's no Ugnaughts there.
No, but I think he probably feels like the Mandalorian saved his town, city, whatever. The child's in danger.
His valley.
Sorry, I'm not a valleyist.
I know things.
Yeah, well, obviously, in universe, just for wondering, not out of universe.
Ryan drives his point home again to Kyle. That was my descriptive audio. My apologies.
No, the Boba Fett never made sense. The Boba Fett made you feel like you're always looking for the setup, the deception, the trap. It never came, so it never really made sense.
Yeah, so I've got some more notes on that next week.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about that. I pointed at my temple for everyone listening in. All right, let's see what else.
Oh.
Okay. Then we see Grogu choke Cara Dune. Good stuff, right?
Gangster.
I mean, like, it's not good that he did it, but
no, it was. Yes.
That's some good storytelling because it shows. It's kind of like a dog. Not to compare him to a dog, but like, if my two kids are just like hyped up and yelling, even if it's like happy yelling, my dog starts going crazy. Like, why are people yelling? Something bad is happening. And Grogu's just like, these guys are fighting. I'm with him, so I'm gonna choke her. And that was pretty cool. I mean, not good as far as like light side versus dark side, not light side, but
Luke did it. Whatever.
Yeah.
The real question I walked away was, did Grogu get shaken baby syndrome from that?
From
the Mando
picked him up,
and he's like, no.
I don't think so, because I don't think you can get it when you're 50.
They passed the age at that point.
He's in the 150th trimester. No, it'd be more than that. He's in the 200th trimester of life.
See, but there you go. It's like that moment was a good moment, which is why the rest of the moments. Go ahead. Sorry.
I did like Cara Dune's response where she was just like, "That is not okay." Like, thought that was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Question: if you're sitting there and something force choked you, wouldn't you like be like, okay, listen, just drop me off. Like, I'm good. Like,
first off, I would have responded a lot more. Like, if somebody's choking me, I wouldn't just be like, I'd be like,
yeah, right.
For everybody listening in, Kyle started.
You're being choked and you can't see anything. Like, you're just choking. Like right now, like, yeah, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, if I start getting choked out by the thing I'm there to save, I would definitely be questioning, stupid? Should I be doing this? Maybe we should be in separate ships. Let's see. Oh, IG-11 is such a great way to add tension. We've already talked about that. So we meet the guild members on the planet, right? Again, it's a trap. That's what I'm thinking. The trap is not sprung. We have Grief Karga and 3 guild members. None of them brought a speeder. Apparently, they walked
Yeah,
the whole.
that none of that made sense, but okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't find that one.
I mean, think about this. Hey, we want to meet you 40 miles outside a city because we've got to be kind of covert going in. I brought some boys with me that have they look nefarious, and we're gonna walk through the dangerous bat area. As you, the bat expert of the show, would know, walking through an area full of bats is not encouraged, especially at night. And here we go.
Yep. Yeah, I also turned on the descriptive audio for that segment also because I was hoping it would say the creature names. It did not. It just said a large winged reptilian creature. And we do know dragons exist in Star Wars. Not that it was necessarily a dragon. But that was just there. I'm blanking on the name of the alien species. There's a book where Obi-Wan is a young Padawan of Qui-Gon's, and he's on a planet, and some similar creatures are involved in that book. And I want to see if I can find my book and pull up the names of those creatures because I.
Oh yeah, well, like an EU book or a normal book?
It's an EU book. It's an older one. Yeah, not a new one. They're on this transport, and the huts are there, and there's an Acorna, and there's a salt issue. Acornas and salt is a whole thing, and Obi-Wan ends up doing some mind connection via the Force to these, reptilian creatures that actually also bear a lot of resemblance to what we see on Camino in Episode 2, right? Attack of the Clones. You know how they have the guys that were writing the things outside of the rainstorm. So it's kind of that kind of. I'm not saying it's the same species. I'm just saying something like that. I just want to know their name, and I don't know their name.
Okay.
More things I don't know. Thanks for pointing that out, Ryan.
Hey, Cal, I sent you a message, and while you do, I'm gonna point the listeners to something that's important to notice here. On one thing you have Grogu on 1 second choking Cara Dune, and then minutes later he is force healing Apollo Creed, and I thought that was a good job. So you didn't you told the listeners that that Grogu does have these dark side tendencies and he has these light side tendencies, but really the tendency is from the perspective of Grogu and Mando. And so whatever Mando thinks is good, Grogu thinks is good. Whatever Mando thinks is bad, Grogu thinks is bad. And so Mando doesn't think Kara's bad, but from Grogu's perspective, he thinks that as you're saying earlier, they're kind of worked up. So
yeah,
Grogu sees Mando in the struggle. He's like, oh, well, I've got to help him. Force choke. Oh, this is one of Mando's trying to help this guy help him. And so it's really the light side, dark side is probably, we understand that those tendencies are there, but we're projecting a lot more on what Grogu's thinking. Grogu's just responding to what he thinks Mando would want him to do.
Right. Grogu at this point is just Mando's familiar. That's what he is, frankly, in the tabletop RPGs, right? He's just Mando's familiar.
Yes. Works for me.
Yeah. And then we find out it was a trap, right? Grief shoots some guys, and I guess those guys didn't want to change the plan because I would hope as the guy getting shot that Grief was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't kill Mando and steal the child. So I at least had the opportunity to be like, no, we got to kill him before he then shot me for wanting to go through with that plan. Because maybe I was like, man, we shouldn't kill this guy. But if Grief didn't say something to me, then they just killed some extra guns that would have been helpful later. And, I'm not going to say innocent life, but not guilty of this one thing.
This one thing. I like how you put that.
Yeah, this particular thing. And then they come up with what I think is actually a decent plan for getting in, right? Cara Dune thinks it's stupid, but I thought it was a pretty decent plan.
Did you buy his? There's only 4 people, and there's always more than 4. So did you buy that he was being honest about that? So he just made it up the whole time. You think?
Yeah. I think the whole time he was lying.
Okay. What was the angle then?
He didn't want them to get scared. He wanted them to be like, oh yeah, we could handle 4 people. That'll be easy enough.
Okay.
Because if he's like, oh, there's 300 of them, they'd be like, no. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, get a blurg and drop it off the Razor Crest as we fly over and just crash the building, kinetic bomb style.
So why didn't he just? So why didn't they just after he killed the bad dudes? They just like, hey, let's get on the ship and leave.
Because they would always be chased. That's the thing. They would always be chased. But
so
why
he
not
thought,
just go to Coruscant or Mon Cala or someplace where the New Republic had like a really strong stronghold?
So let me just tease this out here. What you're saying is that despite the fact that he knew it was 300, he thought the odds were better for them to attack 300, kill them all, escape, run the city, than to go back to the Razor Crest for their safety and go to another planet. That was his plan.
I don't think that he thought they needed to kill 300. I think that he thought whoever is with him, it won't be that many. We will be inside an enclosed space. There is a limited number of troopers that can fit in there. The 3 of us and this magic baby can handle them. And then once we, they said if
what with them though,
you cut off the snake, the head of the snake, you're good to go.
Yeah, but the baby went with them.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So just the 3 of them. Whether it was 4,
they only had one blaster.
Well, first off, they are stormtroopers, right? Which,
well, I'm sorry, Kyle. Continue. You're right. Sorry. Continue. Yes. I knew I'd missed something. That makes sense. Well, in that case, he should have said, "Yeah, we got 300 stormtroopers." Oh. Why did you say something? 300 stormtroopers. That's light work.
I'm just saying. Even Bill Burr was like, "Look, man, I'm not a stormtrooper." Like,
yeah. No.
So even if it was 12 has-been conscripts, I think Grief was like, "Yeah, we could take them."
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Continue. I wasted time not thinking about it as they were adequate, properly trained, and could hit a blindside of the barn. But no, I'm the stormtroopers. I'm sorry. So
right, which they do such a great job in the next episode. Really really driving that point home.
Although they got Quill,
they did get Quill. They had an advantage. Quill was on top of a giant beast, and they were on speeders, and there was 2-1, and he didn't have a blaster. I'm sure if Quill had a blaster that he could have just kind of blindly shot over his shoulder with, he would have been fine. Yeah. Just pew, pew.
Probably so.
There were a lot of troopers, though.
There was a lot.
Also, 20 credits for a Beskar helmet, that is not a fair deal at all.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That reminds me of something. I'll save it for next week. All right. Yeah, my thought when I see this, when they do come up with the plan, is it's going to take Quill like a few hours to get back to the ship. Why didn't they give him a head start? Like, they traveled overnight to get to where they were. Even if he's riding full speed on that blurg, it's going to take him longer to get to the ship on the blurg than it would be for them to walk to the town that is within eyesight of them. Like, why didn't they just camp out there for a few hours and then go into town? That's the worst part of their plan, in my opinion. Okay.
That was the descriptive audio inside the writers' room. They're like, okay, hey, here's what we got to do. And they're like, how do we, the Berg takes longer. So what do we do? And it was just, they're like, leave it in. Okay.
They just go with it. Just roll with it. They're like, shut up, Kevin. Don't bring up things like that.
God, man, what are you talking about? Plot holes. It's not like everyone on YouTube will point this out.
Right? They have done a pretty good job anticipating most things. I will give props there. Then we have the funniest exchange when they meet the client and he's like, I want to see the baby. And he's like, it's asleep. We will all be quiet.
Yeah.
Like, what does he care if the baby's asleep?
Right.
He's the bad guy. He's the nicest bad guy. He's like, oh, yeah, no. I just want to capture him and torture him for medical experiments and drain his blood out of him. Don't disturb him, though.
Well, it's quite possible that he had seen Grogu some powers before, and so he didn't want to make you mad.
Oh, maybe that is the case. He didn't want to make him mad. So I just thought it was some good humor and played real straight. Of course, it's not like laugh, pause, joke. Pause. It's like it was pretty good. And then we get some death troopers. Right? These are people, maybe you should be afraid of them. And so Giancarlo shows up, Moff Gideon, right? And I
have a lot of thoughts about that next week. Just be prepared.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I've got thoughts also. So I'm looking forward to your thoughts. There's one point where I could see on Grief's face, Carl Weathers, with his great acting, I could see it just like going through his head is just like crap. Like, it's just like, yeah, Dank Ferrick. That's the one that he'd be saying. He'd just be like, Dank Ferrick. We're not 100% sure what that means in Star Wars, but it's something bad. Okay. So using comms, bad idea, because that was Quill's idea. He hands Mando the comm link, and it's like, you can contact me over here, but unencrypted channels, man, that'll get you. Right?
I that to me made no sense.
That they could hear into it?
No, that they could track him down.
Yeah, that's the question is like, so do they have some sensor just showing them, oh, there's a ship out here in the middle of nowhere. We should go to that thing. And he was just, line of sight in between them and it.
Yeah, that made no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, Carl Weathers with the "Who's this guy?" line. Fantastic. Because Giancarlo, he comes out, Moff Gideon comes out, and we all know as viewers, oh, this is the big bad. This guy's the real bad guy behind the bad guy that we knew about. This is the real bad guy. And so my thought though is, who is he? And then Carl Weathers just like, who's this guy?
Do you want to answer the question, the comment?
No, I'm not sure what this is about. Okay, I don't know. Power within, symbol. I don't know that. Do you know this character? Nope. Also, he says, hello, this user has been arrested for stealing a stock of 107,000 gallons of yellow Gatorade from Mongolia and hiding them in his basement. I don't know that Gatorade is manufactured in Mongolia. I'm pretty sure it's not manufactured in Mongolia.
But if so, why yellow? We talk about that. Why yellow? I mean, I like yellow Gatorade.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, but like, does it sell the best?
Maybe. I mean, it is the best tasting one in my opinion. I have not tasted all of them, but of the 3 I've tasted, I like it the best. And also, 107,000 gallons is very specific. Also, he says, and so for everyone listening in, this is a comment that a live viewer has posted. It says, hello, this user has been arrested for stealing a stock of 107 gallons. Is he saying one of us or that him? Is Power Within ratting on himself saying, hey, this guy stole?
I think he's being held hostage against his will. and he's letting us know. Oh, he's joking. Okay.
Oh, he's joking. Okay.
I mean,
I'm
we
here.
were. Listen, this was a hostage situation in my book. We were prepared to get the feds involved and free you. But okay, never mind. We'll call the dogs off.
All right. So here we go. I'm gonna switch off of that line there. All right. Oh, so last thought, Quill. I just wanted to see him get on that ship so bad. That would have been great if he'd made it. Like he rides the blurg up the ship, IG-11's piloting, they start taking off, and the troopers are just left there on the ground. That's what I was hoping for. We didn't get that. We got an emotional ending where he is killed, and it was a bummer. But yeah,
it was. R.I.P. Quill. R.I.P. Spelled the conventional way. In case you missed that earlier.
Yes,
that was a good note. I'm glad you caught that.
So, well, that's what happens when you watch shows with the subtitles on, which annoys everyone else in my family when they then go to watch a show and I have not turned them off.
It takes like what 10 seconds.
Yes, but that's the thing is it's harder to be inconvenienced by someone than to like make some big sacrifice for someone. Like I always give people advice when because so many people when considering getting married come to me for advice. No one ever has. But in my head, I give them the advice of you don't have to die for your wife in general. Usually you don't have to, but you do have to constantly be annoyed by little things. And you got to be willing to live with that.
Well, let me just little tidbit here. Breaking news: you only have to die for the wife one time.
Right,
just one.
Just one.
Just once.
That's easier. That's easier than having to be like, I have to move the seat back in the car again. Like, yeah.
Grow longer legs, Haley. Good night.
Hey, Kara's the same way. It's gone better now that my wife is 7 months pregnant. She has to sit further away from the steering wheel, so it has made it easier. If I go to get in, I don't hit my head as hard on the side of the car. Yeah. That's all my notes. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Please clarify for the listener that we are moving on from your wife's pregnancy apparatus and that I'm not commenting on that.
Oh. Yes. So my wife is 7 months pregnant. Ryan has no comment on her current size or shape.
I have no comment on her size or shape at any point, past, present, or future.
There we go. See? You don't need me to clarify. You can clarify.
My lawyer just buzzed in, so we're good. I need the verbiage. No, I think that's it. I mean, I think it was a good episode. Of course, it progresses the story, so it makes sense, obviously. Had some good elements, and yeah. I don't know why they could. I mean, I do think I would love to sit into the writers' room because there are certain easy plot holes that they can't avoid. I say plot holes, things that don't make sense. They could avoid it. I don't know why they.
I think that's definition of a plot hole.
Yeah. What's that?
I think that's the working definition of a plot hole. A thing in the plot that doesn't make sense.
Well, okay, so like let me no. A plot hole.
You're right the first time. I'm helping you.
No, so when I say plot hole, I mean like, hey, we have this massive killing destruction machine, but oh, by the way, it's super vulnerable. If you were to shoot these torpedoes down the hole, it could blow the whole thing up. Okay, that you might consider a plot hole because it's like, well, just cover them up, or don't do it that way, or
force field. They came out with Rogue One 35 years later.
I won't gonna bring that up. Whatever. So that's one thing. Why does Uncle Owen want to be a moisture farmer in the middle of the desert? I mean, maybe it's a plot hole, maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So, like, why did they park 6 million miles from civilization and walk in? Is it a plot hole? Not necessarily. It's just weird. This doesn't make sense. The plot hole, let me think, the biggest plot hole of Mandalorian that I can think of off the top of my head
is in the next episode.
Is Finnick dying?
Finnick dying and then not being dead?
Not being dead. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Or why Boba Fett doesn't get his armor when he knows what it is. Like, those I would say are more.
Yeah, that one with Boba Fett's armor is very annoying.
Yeah. So, I mean, they can't explain it away, but it would take it's still probably not going to work. So, those would be more plot holes. This is just like lazy writing, I think, as you said.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your rating, Kyle?
Chapter 7, I give Chapter 7 an 8. No, maybe a 9. Nah, 8.5.
Okay. I think it's a 7.
What do you give?
7
You
to
think
8.
it's a 7?
I'll say 7.243.8.
I like
No, that's a little low. 2.39.
Okay. Thank you for being specific.
Well, I mean, how else? Are you just throwing out random 9s, Kyle?
No, I'm just saying it's my favorite episode of this season. So, give it a good rating.
I think next episode is my favorite episode of the season.
No, you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine.
You're entitled to be wrong.
Yeah. I knew that was coming. I knew it.
I mean, how can you have your favorite episode when the Ugnaught dies? Like, I don't even understand that. That's not even
because of all the other things, especially IG-11 and
Cara Dune getting
mispronounce the name. Tiki Watiti? Tiki Waiti? I'm not sure.
No, if we go through the episodes real quick, so one's not that great, but it has the Grogu reveal, which makes it really good. 2's terrible.
I thought 1 was pretty good. I give 1 a 7.
If it's anyone other than Grogu, it's like a 4.
I was expecting a baby Hutt, and I was okay with that.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's fine. So I'm just going through the episode. You got 7 and 8. You got 1. And then what other episode would be in the contention for the top 3 or 4 episodes of season 1? That's it, huh?
Well, I mean, that'd be the top 3 right there.
The one he goes back and gets Grogu, episode 3?
Yeah, where the covert comes. I keep calling it a covert. That's a thing in the ditch.
Yeah.
The covert where they come out and get revealed. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so 2's no good. 4's no good.
2's not no good. It's just
2's
not
bad. Oh, 2's brutal. Brutal. That's the one where he kills the rhino.
And that is very sad. Very sad there. But we got to see Grogu like really use his powers, and he informs Quill of them, and so you could see Quill starting to get like interested in what's going on with this kid. And then so it does build up a lot for this episode.
And yeah, we take Quill out. Makes sense. So okay. Quill is the best character of season 1, other than Grogu.
No, IG-11. He's my favorite.
Okay, let's wrap on that before we fist fight.
Okay. I'm sorry to offend you. My apologies.
You're not sorry. Don't lie.
I said I was sorry.
But you're not.
But what more do you want from me?
To change your opinion.
Actually, to change my okay. I appreciate your honesty. Yeah. Let me think of a better phrasing. I feel sorry for you being wrong. I'll put it that way. I forget what the premise of this even was at this point. I just know we disagreed. And as G.K. Chesterton would, I'll have to paraphrase him. I can't quite quote him. But every man thinks that he is right about whatever he is thinking.
That's close enough for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all I got. Thank you all for watching. You can find out more from me on thetalkinggeek.com, more from Ryan on outpost23.net. Where else should they look for you, Ryan?
Right here, Mando Podcast, wherever quality podcasts are found.
There you go. And may the force be with you, everyone. Thanks
Always.
for watching, listening.